You are watching The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, your escape to reality.
Hey, what are you doing August 1st? You know Nexus is online this year. That's right, the Northeast Conference for Science and Skepticism is online. And this isn't going to be your average Zoom chat. What do I mean? Well, we can do stuff like this. We can also do stuff like this. Ooh, trippy. And Friday night, we're having a game show where we can do stuff like this. You know what you should do? You should go to nexus.org and register. That's right, go to nexus.org and register today. I mean, why wouldn't you?
We're live. I think we're live. Jay.
All right.
Hello.
Nexus.
Are we live?
The Nexus promo you just saw last night with George. And then, I had to do some last minute editing to put in the sound effects and whatnot. And then that was it. So Nexus 2020. So Ian, I know that he's listening. Ian's on right now. We have been working so hard that I'm kind of like hitting that point where I'm starting to feel kind of weird. You know, when you don't sleep a lot and you just work, and you're like, what time is it? I don't know. You just blah, blah, blah. So that means I know that I'm actually doing my job. So please do join us at Nexus if you guys are interested, which you should be because the content's going to be great. We have a game show on Friday night. Bill Nye, Leanne Lord, and Andrea Jones-Roy is going to be our contestants, and we have a lot of different games that we're going to play. It's going to be awesome. And then August 1st, the next day, we are going to be doing all the talks, and Andrian is our keynote speaker, and there's a lot of other cool things happening during the day. So please join us. Go to Nexus.
Including the VR component, which we're going to email everybody later today.
Well, yeah, we'll email people. We're going to email all the patrons about it, but we're going to we finally reached the position where we feel comfortable saying that we are going to have a virtual reality component. What it's going to be is a VR environment where there is a place that you can go to see the stream, to see the conference. But there's lots of other things that are going on in that room, including visitations by us, whichever ones of us are free and can join, will jump in from time to time.
I believe the word is haunting.
Haunting, yes. But we're still testing it. It's the first time we've done it. Hey, this is the first time we're doing a full live stream conference. So everything is looking awesome. I'm super psyched about it. I would love to be able to share a screenshot of the VR, but I don't know if we're ready for that.
That's cool.
Later
Jay,
today, maybe.
But why is Steve sitting so still? What's going on over there?
He's
Why does he
in
look so
deep
young?
thought. Deep thought.
Yeah, Steve looks a lot younger and a lot heavier, oddly.
Yeah,
What's
he
happening?
does, right?
Steve, you okay? Snap out of it, man.
Snap out.
I'm
Steve's
fine,
running
Jay.
late. Steve's just running late. He'll be here momentarily.
Mercy.
Yeah, so Steve
Steve
is
Novella here.
Yeah, that's me, Steve. It's not a picture.
Oh my God.
You guys,
So
Yeah.
my
yeah.
assistant who's watching my dog in my house while I'm away just sent me the most ludicrous. I don't know if my connection's good enough for you to see this picture of my dog.
my
but
God.
I'm dying right
that's
now.
adorable.
When I first saw it, it looked like he was wearing a party hat.
He's underneath the coffee table. He's hiding from her because she has to give him a pill.
Oh no! Oh, terrorized dog. Oh,
Dying.
Oh,
Okay,
poor
sorry.
Killer.
I know.
Kara, somebody said you look like a helicopter pilot with that headset.
Hell yeah. This is like
Right?
the travel
5x5.
get up. Because usually I have the big microphone, right? And the headset, and the headphones, but this is an all-in-one. It's such a brilliant
like it.
thing. Yeah, because it's an XLR out. So it's still got that nice quality microphone sound, but it's super
Solid.
portable.
So
Yeah.
we had the opportunity, the SGU had the opportunity to go to Scotland last year.
Mhm.
My God, it feels like it's 5 years ago because of everything.
I think it was
we've
2
been-
years ago
It
now.
was almost 2 years
There you
ago.
go. 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's right. No, last year was Australia, New Zealand. The year
Right.
before that, so it was 2018. We went to Scotland. We had an amazing time.
Oh, it was great.
And Kara, so you are where in Scotland right now? You in the city?
No, I am really far away from the city, which is why I'm on the world's worst internet. So apologies if I freeze at all. I'm in the outskirts, like in a rural area, kind of farmland part of a small town called Kirriemuir. Yeah, Kirriemuir, which is semi-close to Brecon ish. I'm like on the Highland Fault.
Right.
So if I drive north and west, I'll go more into the mountains, because apparently the Highland Fault goes like this.
Yeah.
So I'm like here-ish. I'm about an hour and a half north of Edinburgh. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm checking over and over.
Yeah, I mean, we drove through that area getting to the Highlands.
So we went to Loch Leven,
Yeah.
if you guys remember, which is
Yep.
on the
Yes.
way to here. We also went to, where else did we visit on that tour?
Oh God, we went to
Dune
went to
Castle.
Rob Roy's
Yes,
grave,
Castle Dune. Oh,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
We saw
Rob Roy's
grave.
grave.
Rob
Yeah.
Roy's
That-
grave.
That funny story about that, when we were right near his
Oh,
grave.
yeah.
So our bus driver took us, you get off the main road and you're driving on kind of like a cow path.
She was awesome.
So we're driving, we're looking we can't find it. We see this guy walking down the street. So she pulls up and she's talking to him, hey, do you know where Rob Roy's grave is? And Evan, can you recreate what it sounded like, what we heard?
Yes, it's called by down the way thing, half a lean fight.
Right? So she's
Basically.
like, she goes,
He was
oh,
less
cool,
intelligible.
Thanks. She goes, okay, cool, thanks. She drive away about 10 seconds. She turns around and goes, I didn't understand a goddamn thing that guy said.
Right. And even
Born
her
and
accent
raised
was
in
pretty
Scotland.
thick.
Yeah.
It
She was
was.
born and
intense.
raised in Scotland. She couldn't decipher what the guy was saying.
They call
Loved it.
that, what do you call it? A broad accent, right? It's very broad. Yeah. Is a
love
thick
that.
Scottish
Broad.
accent.
That thick
Um,
Scottish accent, in my opinion, is one of the coolest, best things about being a human. Is that
Except you
love-
can't understand a
I
word.
just love it. I love it.
Even
But-
Scottish people can't understand it.
So-
Here's the second part of that story, Jay. Didn't she then speak with somebody else whom she could understand? And
Yeah.
so it was about a kilometer down the road and to the right or something. And she replied by saying, "Magic, thank you very much."
Oh, yeah, she
yeah,
said magic.
She said
her
magic.
that was her thank you. It was,
Right.
and then we all started to kind of pick it up.
Magic.
I love that for him.
Yeah, it was really cute.
You what?
So, Kara, now is it true that right before Scottish people have sex, that they just start tearing their clothes off, like ripping it to shreds?
Pretty sure all of them do that. Yeah.
Right? That is
Yeah.
so cool.
It's from the Braveheart era.
Right?
It's
Yeah,
from when they wore the proper kilts, the ones that were like all the gathered white thick cloth. and they just rip them off. I think that's how that worked.
Yeah.
But they were hanging out with the Bonnie Highland Coos.
You know,
Pretty
what I
good?
want to
Highland
know,
Coo.
maybe we can ask our listeners, for those of you who aren't Americans, what are the tropes that are out there in movies and books and your TV shows about Americans, right? So we have a million things that we find funny or, that are very tropey about people from other countries. So what's the American version? What is it? The only thing I ever heard was someone said something about they were doing an American accent and they did it a really low Brooklyn type of voice. And they said something about coffee.
Coffee, right? Because that's an easy one to emulate. Yeah. Well, do you guys remember when we were in the UK? And I think this might have been an Edinburgh show. No, it was in England, but it wasn't the Cambridge show. I think it was an extravaganza or a little bit pre-extravaganza. And we read like Little Women's script, and we had to do our worst English accents. And then we called up people from the audience to read a scene from The Godfather.
Yes.
And they could not. The one guy did a really good New York accent, but that girl, remember, she was like, I only know how to sound like I'm from California.
It was great though.
She was hilarious.
It was so entertaining.
She was like, give me some spaghetti.
So the summary I'm seeing here, it's guns, loud, obnoxious, things are bigger.
Oh my God, everything's bigger, you guys.
Tacky, annoying.
Dress tacky.
Fast food.
Matching windbreaker.
Tacky. Just fine.
And that's funny because there's a lot, and nobody's taking offense over here, but there's a lot of the negative traits of certain Americans. Those are the ones that are pronounced.
Of
right?
course.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because that's what people are going to notice if you've got
hamburgers.
If you've got tourists in a touristy part of your town, who's going to stick out? It's going to be the people with the loudest clothes, or the people who are the most out of fashion, the people who speak the loudest.
Quote unquote, it's the ugly American.
Yeah.
Well, and also this idea that there is a superiority complex, that people get annoyed when somebody doesn't speak with their language or their accent. I mean, this is a pretty American trait. You don't see as much with Canadians, but you do also see it with Brits, and you also see it with Germans. And I think I'm seeing that over and over in the thread as well, especially being loud. I found that the flight, I think we talked about this on the show actually, so I won't give that away, but it was very different being on the puddle jumper flight from Heathrow to here than it was being from LAX to Heathrow. Mask etiquette, not great here. Yeah. That I'm learning.
Well, in certain areas, like in North, in the New York City, greater New York City area, we're doing it. We're doing a damn
good
job.
I meant here in the UK.
Oh, in the UK. Oh,
mask etiquette hasn't been good. But I'm wondering if part of it is just because in the US we got brutalized in a real way, that those of us who care and who aren't making it a political statement are really careful about how we wear masks and when we wear masks. And because here in rural Scotland, I just don't think they've been hit very hard. I see people wearing them, but there's a lot of people wearing them under their nose or even below their chin.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody asked what chat we could see. I think we're seeing all of them. Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, it's a blend.
They're all brought together using a special program,
which is nice.
I wanted to talk about, while we were talking about Scotland, I wanted to talk about this idea, I adore the differences between all the different nationalities, and I adore the funny stereotypes that show up in pop culture. And one thing that upsets me is I don't want to see these things just eliminated from comedy and from cartoons and from, there's so much fun stuff in there. And I know that we have to be politically correct, but I think political correctness can sanitize things too much. I don't care. I'm Italian. I'm 75% Italian. I completely identify with Italian. And to me, some of the funniest people out there are the heavy Italian mobster Brooklyn types. You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's, so I can appreciate the stereotypes that I am loosely associated with as an American and as an Italian. Anyway, so my main point is, let's still keep the comedy and keep the enjoyment and the appreciation. There are things about almost every nation, every country out there that I adore. You know,
I think the problem, Jay, comes in when we're talking about oppression and power, right? So when we talk about like the Italian mobster stereotype, what we're often talking about is people who are in positions of power. And so it's not as offensive to hear those kinds of stereotypes in that situation. The same as the like obnoxious American tourist, right? Like we can take that tongue in cheek because it doesn't really hurt us that bad if somebody's like, oh, you American with all your money, right? It's like, no, okay. But like, for instance, I was just telling Evan, I saw a really great documentary, I think on HBO, but it could have been Showtime.
I think you said Showtime.
Yeah, I can't remember which of the two, called The Trouble with Apu or The Problem with Apu, which is about the Simpsons character and how a lot of kids growing up from Southeast Asia or just Asia in general, growing up in the US or all across the world, were actually bullied, and Apu became the thing that they would make fun of these kids for. They would do the accent, they would say, welcome to Quickie Mart. And these were kids who were not in a position of power. They're actually kind of in an oppressed position within their culture. And Apu became a punching bag kind of stereotype that was used against them. So I think that's what we have to remember is like, where are we punching up or are we punching down? And I think it's okay to punch up in comedy, but when you punch down, not only is it lazy, but I think it's really hurtful.
If that and there's the other side to this almost is that and if that was what sort of the Simpsons were going after with the Apu character, then I think that would be kind of a problem in that sense. What they did with the character over the years, I've watched it since the beginning, is that the character has, frankly, a lot of positive attributes. It's like the model immigrant citizen, industrious, going to work, being a computer, going to school at night, wanting to become a citizen, trying to learn the language trying to be a good, man fitting into the society. So they did a lot of work with the Apu character, trying to bring that across. He was actually kind of this hero character, frankly, in The Simpsons, and that they've kind of done away with him in the name of the political correctness that, Kara's.
I don't think it's just in the name of political correctness, Evan. I think the problem is that Apu is and was always voiced by a white man. And that was really problematic. That was somebody doing an exaggerated character voice. It was like, so there are a lot of similarities there to minstrel shows. A lot of people drew those kinds of similarities to blackface, to minstralism. This idea of taking somebody who's in a position of privilege and having them do the part of an ethnic minority and really stereotype it. And so if it had been an Indian man doing the voice of Apu from the beginning, and bringing that voice to it and bringing that experience to it, it would have been a different story. But the problem is it's always been a white dude, which is like, ugh. Yeah.
Well, there's hundreds of examples of white men,
and that's bad.
All sorts of
and that's bad.
And it's 90 from Mel Blanc right up to current times. I mean, it's 100.
And in most of those situations, people have been in Hollywood and in filmmaking have been very mindful and not doing that. I mean, think about the outrage that came out when who was it? Scarlett Johansson was going to play an Asian character, like an anime character. Do you guys remember that uproar?
Yeah, that was.
Oh yeah,
it's not okay. That's the thing. People are starting to get hip to the fact that that's not okay, because not only does it take work away from minority people who are hard workers who could do that part better, but it lends itself to stereotyping.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of this though? I saw the movie. I'm a big fan of Ghost in the Machine, and I've seen the movie. There's lots of manga. There's lots of animated stuff that I really enjoy. So I was curious about that. I hadn't seen the movie, and I watched some videos, and they got like the director and they got the writer of the movie, and they asked them, what's your take on Scarlett Johansson playing this main role? And they were like, they were totally fine with it. So I ask you, what's your take on that? If they have that reaction, does that attenuate the feelings a little bit? If the major creative forces are just like, that is totally fine, we don't care about that.
I bet it's not about them, right? It's the people who
Yeah.
watch it, and it's the audience.
Yeah.
And if the audience says, well, I don't see myself in this.
Ghost
and
in the Shell. Sorry, it's Ghost in the Shell.
Ghost in the Shell. Yeah. But like when it's an audience of young Asian girls who like look, you know, who read the manga and who look up to the character, and then they see basically a white girl in like Asian face, like that's something that's going to be offensive to them. You see the same thing with kind of transgender characters. Like historically, it would always be so amazing when like a straight man would play gay or like a woman would play transgender. But there's so many really talented transgender actors out there who not only, I think, can bring just as much skill to the part, but they can also bring like a mentality to the role that I don't know, that I think is often missing when basically straight white men are trying to tap into that.
But I would think that with comedy, like Hank Azaria is a brilliant comedian, and he brought something to Apu that I love the character. I mean, to me personally, and I can't speak for everyone, I'm sure that there were people that were negatively impacted, like you said, Kara. You know, I find it adorable hearing other people speak, you know, English, but they're from, you know, their native language is a different language, right? So I think Hank Azaria was super funny in the role. You know, he brought his comedic value to it. You know,
but they talk a lot about the fact in the doc, they talk about the fact that nobody has that accent. It is a fake accent. It's a caricatured, over the top, that like most Indian actors are asked to talk like that in roles, and it's really offensive to them.
I actually have real world experience that says completely otherwise.
I don't know.
I have worked with a lot of Indian people, and because I was in IT for so long. I mean, I worked with tons of people. I actually, one of my company, the software company that I owned, we worked as a consulting agency. You know, that was one of the things that we did. So I got people jobs, and I interviewed hundreds of green cards, you know, people from India. I mean, a lot of them talk like that. That's bullshit.
I think it's bullshit. Jay. I think it's also because we can't tell the difference because it's not our native tongue. Right. So a lot of times, just like I remember having a German exchange student in our old lab, and we would go to the local bar, and everybody used to call it Hefeweizen because they couldn't say the word. So they'd be like, oh, I'll have a Hefeweizen, which is a beer, like a Blue Moon. And he would be like, no. It's not Hefeweizen, it's Hefeweizen. And we'd be like, oh, okay, Hefeweizen. And he was like, no, it's not Hefeweizen.
Oh, gosh.
It's Hefeweizen. And I was like, you're literally saying the same thing.
Sure,
and he was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
like he was
you can't fault people for that, how their brain processes these things.
That's
you
all
can't fault them for that, but you can fault,
I think, all about phonemes.
A white actor for doing and in the doc they actually talk to they show an interview clip with Hank Azaria or with somebody else who was in the room, I can't remember, saying Apu as originally written was written not it. You see it in the first script, not a stereotype, not overly Indian in his accent. And then Hank Azaria said, oh, let me do this funny accent, and made all the white men, because there were only white men in the room at the time, made all the white men in the room laugh. And they'll go, this is hilarious. We have to do it this way, as if surveying other people never even crossed their minds. And so that's the problem. It doesn't offend you because why would you be offended by that? It offends often, you know, Southeast Asian members of our society, and nobody ever bothered to ask them why. They just thought, oh, well, it's funny to us. Why isn't it funny to you? When it's like deeply insulting to them.
I think lots of people can be insulted or feel offended by lots of different things. Couldn't you apply that standard to so many things?
We should. That's the thing. As long as it's only white men in the room making the decisions.
But this is what Jay's getting back to, and our culture is kind of in this middle ground right now, in which it's trying to determine a way forward with this very point, is that at what point does something like comedy have to stop being comedy because it has, quote unquote, offended too many people?
I saw a meme recently that said something like, when my friends tell me, hey, what's up with you? You used to laugh at all my jokes and now you're so like uptight. They responded, or like, you lost your sense of humor. They said something along the lines of like, I don't think I lost my sense of humor. I just used to think that things that were really cruel were funny. And I think that's the difference. Like, I don't think that stuff is funny anymore because I think about it. And I think sometimes cruelty used to play well. If you watch 80s comedies, they're so sexist. They're so racist. Oh my God. And they make you cringe now.
It's also like growing up. I mean, when my wife and I were just started dating, we used to, I mean, it's embarrassing to even look back. We used to joke around, not making fun of people who are mentally handicapped, but acting silly that way with each other. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was okay. I certainly grew up in the 70s and 80s. Like that was just one of the things that you go to for humor. And then like we both kind of realized we shouldn't do this. It's not cool. Like, you know what I mean? So I agree with that. There are certain things that are just not right. But my overarching point is, man, I just hope it doesn't sterilize things to such a degree where it doesn't feel like you're sucking the air out of the room at a certain
I agree.
point.
I love comedy. I'm a huge, I love it, but I just really would prefer to watch something that punches up than something that punches down. I think that there's some really brilliant comedians out there who just know the difference between, making really good observational kind of jokes and even sometimes doing accents. Like you said, there are a lot of kind of Asian comedians who will do the accents of their parents but they'll do it because they're in a position where they're allowed to do it. It's kind of like, I can make fun of my sister, but you can't. I'm going to get really defensive if you do, because I also know the nuance. It's my world and I know what's okay and what's over the line.
I think the show that does it more than any other show and deliberately tries to push the envelope is South Park. And I have to ask myself, why didn't the people who made the Apu special, which I haven't seen yet, I will see it, you go after South Park, which I think is a much easier target for the point that they were trying to make rather than
I think that part of the problem, part of the thing with South Park is that they always say what they're doing overtly, whereas The Simpsons, I don't think did. They tried to make up for it by developing the Apu character and saying, we didn't do anything wrong. Look, he's such whereas in South Park, they're like, I'm going to say something racist to draw attention to how racist the world is. They just are overt about being very inside baseball. I don't know if The Simpsons always was very good at that.
But my understanding also is that there's mostly, if not all, white guys doing the voices on South Park as well.
You're right. Luckily they do them poorly.
All right, well, let's
intentionally.
Let's shift that. It's 5:30.
Let's make fun of Steve.
Hey, Steve, how you doing there, buddy?
We could open.
You haven't said much.
There's a lot of stuff to get to tonight. We do have a quiz tonight. But it would be fun for us to take questions without Steve monopolizing all the answers. Why don't you guys throw some questions at the four of us? Because everybody wants to ask Steve the hard-hitting medical stuff and everything. Of course, Steve's going to be the one left to answer it.
No, let's do a segment where Steve asks, or where they ask us hard-hitting medical stuff.
We just make it up.
Then we get sued. That's good. Yeah,
then we get sued.
So pop some questions in there. In the meantime, Evan, why don't we do your puzzle? So
because a lot of people already got it right this week. So this is this is the Stroop test, right? Where you write down you take the word and the color and you write it in a different color, right? So obviously we have purple, which is black, green is blue, red is brown, brown is green, black is orange, the new orange. Orange is purple and blue is red. Okay, so obviously the Stroop test, right? So you know what's going on there, but why? Why this order? That's the puzzle part, and a lot of people got it correct. Congratulations to everyone who guessed it. Why? Carrick, do you see any pattern there in the order as to why?
Is it in the colors or the words? Can you give me that hint?
It's in the colors.
It's in the colors themselves.
The pattern is the colors. So you got it right. So you have
black,
to see past
blue,
the words.
Brown,
right?
Green, orange, purple, red. So red, orange, green. Why is there brown? No, I don't see the pattern. Should I see the pattern?
Well, so
I was like rainbow. That's the only pattern I know.
Say the first letter of each of those colors.
Oh, PGR, B.
No, just say black is B, right? Blue is B.
You're right. Black is B. Blue is B.
Yep.
Brown is B.
Yep.
Green is G.
Yep.
Orange is O.
Uh-huh.
Purple is P. This is hard. And red is R.
Correct. So what do you notice about that? B, 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 G,
Bob,
O, P, R.
From the bottom it says Bob.
They're in alphabetical order.
Rob.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're just in alphabetical order.
Yep, by color.
Oh, nice.
By
Gosh,
color.
that's
And a lot-
complicated.
Nice.
But yeah, but that's the point. It's kind of your brain is thrown off sort of in one direction by trying to, match the color to the word. And then the puzzle part is trying to put it in some kind of sequence or why this sequence exists. So there you have it.
I get some cognitive issue when I see this test, when you see, your brain doesn't like to deal with that because it's not.
Do you have ADHD?
Me?
Uh-huh.
Kara, I will be very honest. This is really cool. I just found this out.
Uh-huh.
So I think I told you I went on a new antidepressant, right? I went from an SSRI, which is serotonin, to a
SDRI? Was it a dopamine? Yeah.
Dopamine, right? So I switched and I'm like 3 weeks into the switch. So check this out. So after being on my new meds for a week and a half, all of a sudden I'm sitting down at work and I'm getting more work done than I have gotten done in years.
Amazing.
And I didn't put 2 and 2 together yet. So then, whenever I'm like, when you go on a new medication, you want to know everything about it. And I'm reading about it. So this is Wellbutrin I'm on. And then I see Wellbutrin is given to people who only have attention deficit syndrome. That's how good it is at helping people that have it. So I just told my wife, I'm like, I have AD. I have it.
Yeah, you might have. Yeah, you might have been ADHD like your whole life. A lot of people don't really, especially people I think kind of our age and older.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much screening as children, but
I never heard about it until I was probably in my 20s, maybe.
Yeah, I know a lot of people my age, like in their late 30s, early 40s, were just getting diagnosed. And the Stroop test, it's not a diagnostic test for ADHD, but kind of combined in a full battery, it can point to some of those problems. It tends to be much more difficult for people with ADHD because it's much harder to do the switching that's required to go color, word, color. Yeah.
But I'll give you like some of the things that I noticed. And, it's like when I have less sleep, everything gets worse. But, like some of the changes I noticed were I can just concentrate for much longer, which is huge. The other thing is that I don't bounce. I don't go from this. Then I think, my brain is like, I got an email. And I switch over to the email. So I'm constantly switching what I do and everything gets pushed forward a little bit and nothing gets completed. So
because you're distractible before. Yeah,
absolutely. So I feel like I'm so lucky that this medication is not just helping with depression, but it's helping me with something else that I didn't even realize was affecting me as much as it was.
That's
and then
amazing.
The other thing I found out is there are a ton of people who are undiagnosed that don't even know it.
Oh gosh.
Especially from like you said, from my generation and earlier. I talked to my mother-in-law, who was a professional, a child educator for 20 years, and she said the kids that have that were so not paid attention to. We paid attention back then to the kids that were disruptive, but kids that had attention deficit disorders, we didn't really know it. They just slipped right through the cracks.
Yeah, it's like only the kids who were the most difficult to manage and the kids who always knew the answers to the questions. And that's even a problem still today, where the really kind of advanced kids and the kids who are really struggling are the ones who get all the attention, and the kind of people in the middle, they don't get a lot of specialized attention.
So anyway, so there it is. I mean, it's funny that you asked her. You picked up on it, and I had a real world thing. So I actually have an appointment on Tuesday with my doctor, and I'm going to talk to him all about it.
Yeah, interesting. Be like, I suck at the Stroop test. He'll be like, no way. That's interesting.
Yeah,
you're human, Kara. You're human.
Bob, why don't you tell us what the hell is going on behind you?
Yeah.
These are my big favorite masks that I've had for many, many years. Some of them are in great shape. This guy here is such a thick latex that I think he's going to last even, another 10 years. This guy here is so delicate. I mean, you can see on the side, he's just coming apart. So he's basically just like, the Toy Story cowboy, where he's meant to, don't play with it. You just like look at it.
Yeah.
I wish there was.
So it's a statue, not a mask. I thought they were masks.
They're all masks. They're all masks. But some of them are so old that, this is the guy where you could see it's really falling apart. It's so old that you can't wear it. It'll just fall apart.
I love that.
I just love these guys. They're just so much fun.
My favorite one is the one right over your shoulder, Bob, with the yellow eyes.
This guy, yeah.
He's memorable. He's really just a cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
Whoa.
This is another one that's like 20 years old, but it's such a thick pore of latex that it's not degraded at all. But if you have any masks made out of latex, they're not going to last forever. It's really sad. But if you have like some of the newer silicone masks, I think they will just last and last.
They last a lot longer.
Is the guy in the middle like a triceratops tree head? What's going
that's
on
like
with his
Frankenstein.
head?
That's Frankenstein.
Are these bones?
No, those are
protrusions.
No, those are the metal things that like holds the top of his head.
The
on.
connectors.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, you know how Triceratops has like the face with the bones sticking out.
Which is the positive node and which is the negative?
This guy's a lot of cool. He's like the latex down here is good, but the latex up there is not good. If you squeeze it, it would just like shatter.
Are any of them
so
wearable
sad.
right now?
Yeah, this guy's wearable.
Will you put one of them on?
This guy's wearable. Sure, 1 second.
Can you do it with your earbuds in?
While
Yeah,
you're
you
doing
can.
that, Bob, Ian, if you want to get a few questions ready, and then we'll go
Sure.
to the quiz.
I think you guys talked about this, but a question for everybody: did you ever meet Grant from MythBusters?
We talked about it a bit on
Carrie,
the
you
show.
knew you kind of.
I knew Grant. He was a friend. Like I was actually looking through some of our old texts, and he way back when I was on HuffPost, like 11, 12 years ago. Oh, Bob, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's extra creepy, by the way, because you lose your neck in it.
Yeah, you're right. It just goes right to show. Yeah,
so
it's
your
cool.
head is all
So
sunken
he's just
into
got
your
a
body.
yeah, it looks
This
too small
thing.
for his body, even though it's bigger than his head. Anyway. So yeah, Grant, I was going back and I have old messages from him from when I worked at HuffPost where he was like, hey, it's so great what you're doing, you know, like keep it up. He was like just the most motivating, kind person. And I wasn't super close to him. We had a lot of sort of in that era, I was hanging out with like oh gosh, what's his name? Like Hardwick and his girlfriend a lot, Chris Hardwick. Yeah. And so Grant was in a lot of those kind of crossover groups. I also know Carrie, and I know one of their old producers from MythBusters produced me on Brain Games. So we got to be pretty close. So yeah, when he passed away, I mean, it was sad for me for sure, but not in a way that like I saw some of my friends really suffering. People who are still doing game nights with him twice a week during COVID. Wow. People for whom he, you know, they owe their careers to him, or at least they say that because he was so supportive. Just like a really kind guy. His girlfriend Jenny, or fiance Jenny, it's rough.
And have you met him at DragonCon?
I did. I met him at DragonCon. I think it was in 2012, I want to say. And it was while we were getting ready for the Billy West interview. Remember that?
Yeah, totally. That was
an awesome interview.
That was a great one. Yeah.
So we're kind of off on the side, and you know there he is, and I go over and I say hello. It was a 5-minute conversation. So to say I can't say I knew him. Had the pleasure of meeting him and had a great 5-minute conversation with him. Everything Kara said, it wrapped up in 5 minutes, basically.
Yeah.
Right. He's just nothing about him is like a celebrity. It's like you've known him your whole life. The first time you talked to him.
Yeah, I never got the opportunity. I mean, he was one of those people, like I just always expected to run into him at one of the cons. You know?
Yeah.
It's too bad.
I think the cons just got too crazy after a while. You know, it was like such a madhouse at San Diego Comic-Con, which is where, I saw him there a lot, but only at parties, only at like these special parties that you had to have an invite to. Because otherwise he's shielded. It's just too much of a mad rush to, say hi.
All right, let's pivot to a question, Ian.
Well, there's a follow-up to Kara's, apparently. What's your favorite dinosaur?
Styracosaurus. That's the one that's like the super metal looking ceratopsian. So it's like Triceratops, but it has all the spikes, and it's like my other favorite is Ankylosaur, which I used to call Ankylosaur when I was a kid. Right. But then I learned it's actually Ankylosaur. And that's the one with the club tail and the like hardcore armor. Yeah. I think I just really like metal dinosaurs.
That's awesome. Those are two great ones for sure.
Right? Yeah. What about you guys? You've got to have favorites.
I do. I mean, I always used to love the Triceratops battling the whatchamacallit?
T-Rex?
The T-Rex. Mm-hmm. That to me is like so connected to my childhood that those two dinosaurs like kind of are dinosaurs to me. Like they're the iconic, sample of the species type of thing for me. But I love one of the ones that were huge that swam in the ocean. with the long tails. I forgot.
So those aren't. They're not dinosaurs. I think you're thinking of plesiosaurs.
Yeah,
Probably not
plesiosaurs.
mosasaurs, right?
Yeah.
Plesiosaurs are the ones with the long neck,
That's what
like
the
Loch Ness monster.
Loch Ness was supposed to be. I just think that
Yeah.
they're beautiful.
Mhm.
I think they're really, really beautiful. All right,
Kara,
so
Kara, I like the ones you mentioned, but also I like the Titanosaurs, the big boys.
Hell yeah.
Argentinosaurus.
yeah,
The most massive ones, of course, were among my favorite. But the ones that you mentioned, yeah, those are they are intense. And of course the
They're
T-Rex.
just so metal.
Yeah.
if
Yeah,
I had to
that one.
meet one, I'd want to
Right.
meet a brontosaurus.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they seem so gentle.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And now
That's
we
why,
can
yeah.
call them
Have 'em like-
brontosaurus
like
again.
Yes, we can.
right.
There's another
All right,
question
yes.
for the
Next
rogues.
question.
I also, by the way, I have this tattooed on my arm,
Archaeopteryx.
and this is it's Archaeopteryx, which I still consider dinosaur, but I think a lot of people actually consider it a bird. I wouldn't say it's my by far favorite, but it's my favorite. Let's say transitional fossil.
Right? Yeah, fossil.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
You gotta like
Yeah,
it
it's
a
my
lot.
definitely my favorite fossil.
I'm
That's
sure you like it a
definitely
lot if
up
you
there.
tattooed it on your skin, right? I mean, it's.
I think at the time I was really angsty and like I was like, "This is my fuck you to creationists." Like that's what I
Yeah.
used to tell people.
Good-
That's
good
why I love it
reason.
too. Definitely.
Go ahead, Ian.
Next one, would it be possible to send individual small drones into outer space for exploration, or would the fuel be the biggest issue, even if it's a very small light object?
How are you powering these?
I would
What a
think
light
that,
sail.
that the answer absolutely
Propellers wouldn't
yes,
work very
right,
much.
right, Bob? I mean, we are going to be sending super tiny probes out.
We're gonna laser propel them, right?
Yeah, that would. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a must.
Yeah, they call them. I think some of the. Yeah, I mean they're talking about creating like these on the scale of grams, these little probes that could actually muster a signal back to Earth and attaching it to a huge light sail, and then using super powerful lasers in Earth orbit or on the surface of the Earth. In orbit would be better, of course. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, you could feasibly get that to say Alpha Centaurus in like 20 years.
Yeah.
That's crazy fast. I mean, it's over like what 4.1 light years away, and if it gets there in 20 years, in a lifetime, we could actually see images of other planets and stars close range. So those types of probes are feasible, and I could foresee them being launched in the next 20 years. I mean, lasers have advanced enough where we could do that, but yeah, so for that, yes. But if you're going to do any maneuvering, then you couldn't use anything too small because it's just not enough fuel.
You need more. Well, you need the hardware
Right.
to do it as well.
Hey, Bob, would those probes emit a signal that would be detectable of any kind?
Yeah. I think they could. I don't know too much detail about how that would work, but they would be able to, I think, contact us in some way. It would be a pretty.
They'd have to if they're going to
pretty-
send us back pictures.
Right.
you know.
Pretty feeble signal, but there's no. I mean, once you're going, there's no stopping. It will be like.
I get that.
Big Ben. No, there would be no Big Ben Parliament because you're not going back. You're just like going right through, and you're not going to slow down or stop.
If you're a civilization that has the capability of doing this, and let's say you could do it on a scale in which you sent millions, billions of these things out into space, wouldn't that be something that we could potentially detect to see if another civilization is doing something exactly like that?
Well, first off, Evan, think about how big the universe is. Like,
I get that.
If millions of other species existed on other planets, and each one of them sent out trillions of probes, the likelihood of any of them reaching us is almost zero.
So when you guys say probe,
but all we need to do is detect them in their host galaxies or what have you, right?
so it would have to put off a signal that was like a non-natural signal,
Yeah,
basically.
right.
Something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
But when you say probe, doesn't probe mean that it's going to land somewhere or that it's going to
Well, it's probing space. It's probing.
I see.
It's not going into, like they wouldn't be good to go into the atmosphere of a planet because they just flat out don't have enough hardware on them to do anything.
Yeah.
So
They
it's
would
more
be-
like Voyager, but if Voyager was like a CubeSat.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Like we could do that now, couldn't we?
Yeah, we can. Absolutely. I mean, they're already like figuring out how to do it. I mean, it's not like miniaturization is where I think we've already achieved the miniaturization. All the technologies are pretty much there to do it. At this point,
Yeah,
it
we
all
have
comes down to money.
CubeSats. We have a lot of CubeSats, but they're mostly, like you said, Bob, in orbit, right?
Yeah. And that's why they're called sats. But
Yeah.
but Jay, what you're talking about is, it ties into the Fermi paradox. It's like the universe is old enough that a civilization in this galaxy could have sent out, say, von Neumann probes, which can duplicate themselves, and then the two go out, and then they duplicate themselves, and eventually you've got billions of probes, filling the galaxy. So why haven't we seen anything like that? So does that mean that there's no intelligence out there? Are we the only ones? Do they do they destroy themselves after a certain period? That's the whole idea behind that, which is a whole topic.
Afraid of being detected, and they do it more. They don't send out billions. There's that too.
Like,
there's a risk here.
Or my theory is that they've turned, instead of outwards, they've turned inwards, and they're living within their own virtual realities, and they don't want to deal with the outside world because it's too slow out there. If you're living in a VR, I mean, you could be living a century in a month type of thing. So going out beyond that, why would you want to take a million years to travel to the next solar system? That's a whole thing.
All right, next question.
This is a question from patron. What does everyone think about microdosing for treating anxiety, specifically psilocybin?
Mushrooms
out here. Yeah.
Mushrooms, LSD.
They're doing a lot of new testing on this kind of stuff.
There's a cool facility at Harbor UCLA called MAPS, where they're doing a lot of this interesting stuff. I covered it as a journalist. I actually haven't done any research into this field as a psychology student. I've read a little bit of the literature, but I haven't done any active experimentation. But when I was working as a journalist, I covered it, and it was fascinating. Also, MDMA for like PTSD. So, and as somebody who's done all of these drugs myself, like experimentally, just to see what it's like and enjoy myself back in the day, I haven't in years, but when I was in college, I was, played around with that kind of stuff. I could definitely see how it would work, but especially with psychedelics like psilocybin or LSD, it would have to be microdose.
Oh yeah.
Because a heavy dose is not going to help with anxiety. It's going to induce anxiety.
Hell yeah. The last thing I want to experience, one of the last things is like a heavy dose of LSD. That would be it would be disruptive to me long after it went away.
Yeah.
And it can be
benefit maybe.
So
you also have to.
It's sorry, Kara.
I was just going to say, you have to do it in a safe way. Like, I think
what Jennifer Willett did. Read her book.
Yeah, read her book. She talks about doing it with Sean.
I mean,
which is amazing.
As every other thing that has to do with science, I defer to the experts. I'm reading stuff about it. It seems encouraging. It seems like we're going to be, a decade or more away from them saying absolutes about things.
I think the hardest thing is that some of these drugs are still Schedule 1, and so just because of the legality of doing this kind of research, it's complicated. It would be great to see more like THC, marijuana research, which I think we're seeing now because certain states have decriminalized it. Oh my God, your cat's so cute.
Somebody asked. This is Sophie. She's my
kitty
love.
cat.
I love her so much. Look at
she's
her
so
eyes.
serpentine.
What's new, kitty cat?
Yeah, she's a good girl. All right, let's do one more question and then we'll do the quiz.
Someone was asking, what is your favorite facepalmy pseudoscience cure for COVID-19, if you found any?
Oh my God.
So many bad.
Oh
yeah.
What's the bleach drinking guy? The guy who?
Oh yeah. Well, that cures everything, right?
I know.
the miracle water, miracle solution. Oh my gosh, he's been touting that for everything for the last 20 years.
The best has to be, using like getting the bleach or the UV light in the body. I mean, how do you beat that?
I can beat it. The best one is who I can't forget the name of the preacher that was blowing COVID away with God's wind or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes. It's exactly what he did on stage, Evan. With the big, mega church, like the way that they talk. That to me is so. All the other stuff at least has chemistry involved. At least there's even though they're fantastically wrong, at least they're involving a chemical that does do something. But when you blow and say Jesus is, that is so nonsensical. They deserve to get ass slapped for it. They just.
I'll vote for that one. Yep, I'll vote for that.
What was that?
It's Kenneth Copeland. If anybody wants to watch The Preacher.
Kenneth Copeland.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Didn't we also get an email from somebody recently asking about an article? This pissed me off. It was an article in PubMed from some bullshit journal, and I looked and could only see the abstract, but it was basically about like irradiating with 5G to treat COVID. Like it
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
combining all
great.
of the crazy conspiracies in one.
The 5G. It
and
just
it was
so
like-
happens that 5G towers were going up when COVID started to hit. And the fact that they correlated that technology to delivering COVID, I mean, that hurt my brain so much. That was so insulting as someone who is a fan and a science communicator. I just wanted to scream at them.
Yeah.
You guys, I just clicked on the link and it now says withdrawn by the publisher.
Good.
Oh,
Nice.
Can't even read the abstract. I was going to try to pull it up. They pulled it. Good
All
for
right.
them. Science at work.
Guys, give me a
Yep.
smile. I'm going to take a picture. Ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Ooh, Steve's smiling in this one.
Yeah, actually. Right. Ian and I have a running joke is that you cannot take a picture of Steve just smiling. The average picture that anybody takes of Steve is this.
You're saying he's always talking? He never shuts up?
Ask Bruce Press, who's a professional photographer. Steve's mouth is always open. It's always open for some reason.
Yeah, this is photoshopped. So we have a longer quiz. Should we get to that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, longer quiz. Okay.
All right, so
59
quiz.
questions.
Do you
No,
wanna play?
it's 8 questions.
Oh, probably. I thought the internet.
58 questions.
I'll give a little bit more time for everybody and some seconds in between.
So what is
Can
it?
you give
Dark-
us the link?
Yeah, I'm gonna post it in chat for everybody. It's the
That's
same as
awesome.
before, but it's darkenergy.games. I'll post it in the chat as well.
But it's /SGU. Right? Dark energy.
No, it goes. It's both. It
Okay.
goes there. Either way.
In
It
addition,
goes there.
a couple of technology updates this week. You can tell it what country you're in because some people's IP addresses are wrong. We just ask you, please be truthful about it because the national stats are actually fun to see. So
Do we hit join?
So I
Yeah.
can't be from Tuvalu?
no, and do not hit join game
I don't know.
until you hear Ian do the sync.
Oh,
Well, no,
right.
that's the calibrate.
So we can join the game now, is what you're
Yeah,
saying?
you can join it. I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
click
you're
the
right.
join
Oh, wait.
game
Oh,
button.
Quiz started.
Oh, it did start.
Did I mess it up?
Oh,
I think I
what
started
do I
it
do?
too.
How do I get back out? Can I go backwards?
Wait.
Yes.
I'm not hitting join game yet,
What's
but
that?
I'm going to be United
Now I
Kingdom.
see a synchronized button.
Yeah, that was a hiccup. We
Oh,
gotta
you
tell
do?
Frank.
I don't know. what
Okay,
that
I'm going to
was.
hit join game
wait.
then.
Let me
Yeah.
If you
stop
join,
that.
and if you
Oh,
see
I
the
see the
quiz,
synchronized.
back
I do
out,
see
and you'll
it.
get the synchronized
Safe.
now.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, everybody, you should have a
game.
screen that says waiting for game to start.
With a
And then at the
blink.
bottom, it'll say timeline calibration. Don't hit synchronize now yet.
Yet.
And
Just
what-
stare at the blinking blue
Uh,
dot and stare at the blinking blue dot.
And if you're on an iPad or a desktop computer, you should be seeing in the lower left-hand corner, it should say sound effects with a slider.
Yes.
Because there are now built-in sound effects to the
Oh,
game.
I see it.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm turning them on.
That means I don't have to do them anymore.
but you won't see it. Yeah, I'm going to turn mine on too. Yeah, so it
Can you
has
guys
to be.
do the eyebrow thing with both sides of your face?
No, I can't.
No.
Steve
I can't
could.
either.
Steve, I
Can
can't.
he? I can
I
barely
can only
get
do my
one to
right
work.
eyebrow.
I could just do the heavy brow, like down.
Yeah, kind of both.
Huh, weird.
All right, Ian, what are you seeing on your end, brother?
I just people want the link again. People in the group don't see it pinned because they're
Let's see.
on the group Facebook as opposed to the page Facebook. So
Darkenergy.games.
Exactly.
Copy.
Spelled normal.
That's it.
Yep.
Darkenergy.games.
We'll make a
I
graphic.
sent it to the
eventually.
folks in Discord. Hello,
Everybody
my
who-
Discord friends. Patrons,
It's getting to the
thank
point
you.
now, Evan, where people who comment on Adam Savage, other people, I just saw one like, you must be new here.
Okay, yeah, right. That's that. Oh, gosh.
That's how you
Where
can
you
trying to
been
train
for a
them.
while? Welcome. Yes.
Everybody that mentions Adam Savage gets banned. Just so they all know.
We're gonna
don't
turn
I've
into a
already been doing
drinking
it.
game. We'll turn into a drinking game. We'll all get smashed.
All right, find that too.
All right, so how many people do we have logged in yet?
There's no stream on the game site. That's true, unfortunately. We have 398, about 400 people.
It should
That's-
not be on the third question for you, Zachary. Back out.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
you gotta back
refresh. Or
Yeah,
something.
hit
or
refresh.
I don't
Yeah.
know why it.
Everybody
was-
hit refresh.
It
should
just seemed like
just
it
say
started for somebody. Yeah,
waiting
let's
for
sync
game
it,
to
everybody.
start.
All right, go ahead, Ian.
So I'm going to count down. Here we go. It's going to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wait,
click.
tell everybody what we're doing again, Ian.
We're going to count down, and I'm going to hit the click, and you're going to hit the calibrate when you hear me say click. So
You're hitting the button that says synchronize now.
Synchronize now, yes.
Yes, that's right. It does actually say calibrate for me. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Click.
Click.
Calibration not possible.
Now we'll just wait.
Wait for the game to start. Wait.
Calibration done. Wait for the game to start. I can
Just
do that.
Waiting. We're just going to wait about 30 seconds so everybody has a chance to calibrate.
So, if something went wrong, what would you be seeing?
It should say unknown, maybe calibration unknown.
What do you
So
do
this
in
is
that
like that.
case?
Does it say that?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just people maybe
it
experiencing
defaults to our timeline, so things will progress in our time, but it won't be relative to your stream. So you'll hear us talk about stuff after the fact.
So just answer as soon as you see the question.
Right.
Basically.
So you just follow what happens on the
Look
thing.
at my robot clock
So people
there.
got 10 seconds delay or calibration. Somebody's 17 seconds on Facebook.
How do you know what your delay is? Oh,
It'll tell you.
And also,
0 seconds.
2 seconds.
You're in Scotland, so you're probably like 400
we're connected
minutes.
UDP. So
Right, because I'm Greenwich Mean Time.
right.
Nothing
All right.
mean about
All
it.
right, what do you say?
16 seconds. Somebody got 27 seconds, so it's probably been about 30 seconds behind. Thank you all for telling us in the chat.
Yeah,
That
Frank
helps.
said you have to wait at least
Frank.
30 seconds to start the game. After
Right.
you synchronize.
Facebook is
Ian, do you know what
notorious
this
for
reminds me of?
aggressive delay. You go ahead.
It reminds me of when we start recording SGU every time.
Yes.
And Steve asks if we're all ready, and we all say yes, and then we 3, 2, 1 record, and somebody goes, "Wait,
Yeah, yeah.
wait a minute, I'm not
Inevitable.
ready."
Inevitable.
It's always funny to me. I
You
still
do the
laugh at
clap
it when
too,
it
right?
happens.
Does everybody clap? Nobody claps when they do that? To
No.
launch?
No, we don't
Okay,
clap.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do
We
that.
say sync.
All right, we're starting the
We say
game. Here
sync.
we go.
All right,
Here we go.
Okay.
Hopefully it works. Boom, it started. Okay. Which of the following contains, on average, the least caffeine?
You're probably
One
not
average
screaming.
size cup of coffee, one average size cup of green tea, one average size shot of espresso, one average size cup of black tea.
Ooh,
Least caffeine.
And the music only plays
Ooh,
on
it's one
desktop,
of
by the way.
these. Which one?
I'll
Go,
say
go,
it's
quick,
that
quick.
one.
1 second.
And I only drink 2 of these.
I was swayed. I know the answer to this, and I was swayed.
Yeah, so the funny thing is
because I don't drink it.
espresso. Everybody thinks that espresso is like just like the powerhouse of caffeine. It isn't.
I've said this so many times on SGU. There's not that much
But
caffeine in
I
it.
didn't pay attention because I don't drink it. It has no direct impact.
The key, though, I think, is that it's so small. It's a shot. It says right there, a shot of espresso.
And
which
here's
is-
the next question.
Next question incoming.
Jay's
Go.
over it.
I made my point.
Yes,
What
you
does that
did,
even
Bob.
mean? The best thing a human
What's the best thing a
I
human
see.
can
I know
eat?
the answer.
As added by Jay.
Oh gosh.
1 meatball, 2 meatballs, 3 meatballs, Jay's meatballs, which with no apostrophe apparently, meaning it's not possessive, but
It's
It's
plural.
plural.
I don't like that.
Many J's.
Sorry, Ian.
I don't like that.
I fucking hate apostrophes.
I won though.
See, this one really almost any answer is correct, but there is one that's a little bit more correct than the others.
Wait, how is 1 meatball better than 3 meatballs? That's not correct.
I'm not saying. I'm saying if you picked even 1 meatball, you're in the right direction.
I see.
You know what I'm saying?
All right,
Yes,
Jay, we're
I
done.
get it.
Next
It's
question.
Like all pizza is
Bob,
good
touche.
pizza.
Don't get mad at me because I pay attention to the freaking timer on there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
2,
Okay.
1.
All right, next one.
Oh, I know this one.
Go ahead, say that word, Kara.
Crepuscular.
There you go.
And you guys, if
animals?
you listen to the show, you should know the answer
Yeah.
to this. I love dropping this word. And I think I did a what's the word about it.
So it's animals that are active during the dawn or dusk, animals that can avoid observation or detection by other animals, animals that have other species, raise their young, or animals that sleep on or in water.
Man,
That-
I could have
that's
had
cool.
a perfect score. Black tea.
Yes. Apparently, I listened to Kara. I got it right.
Is there any relation to crepuscular rays of light?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
think so. Because
there's
when
light
you see them,
associated. Yeah.
Yeah, when the sun is low or low in the sky,
mhm,
get
you'll see them
that-
break
you
through the
get- yeah.
clouds.
I think it's true that tea has more caffeine by volume than coffee beans.
Yeah.
That's the...
Damn it, black tea.
I've heard that.
Okay.
I do drink tea occasionally. Not coffee.
Why is
though.
there no music? Oh, there it is.
Okay, what animal, when in groups, is referred to as an ambush? Chinchilla, honey badgers, red ants, or tigers?
Oh, that's awesome. I
Which
have
one's
no
actually?
idea.
I don't
I
think
love
these
that
come in
animals each have
groups.
their own name.
Me
their
too,
own
I love those, don't you,
designation
Ev?
for
My
groups. Love 'em.
favorite is a murder
Murder
of
of
crow.
crows. Yeah.
And I remember on
Ah.
Facebook, somebody posted the best picture was two crows on a bench, and it said attempted murder.
So
I
when
got
was
it wrong.
when I was
Crap.
writing this question,
I got it wrong too.
I
when
got
I
it
was
wrong too.
when I was writing the question, to me, it didn't really like tigers seemed like, yeah, sure, tigers absolutely ambush. But then I'm like, what else would people think do ambush?
Honey badgers.
So I first thought of the honey badger. Then I'm like, an ambush means a lot. So red
That's why I
ants
put
came up.
chinchilla.
Chinchillas was just a joke.
That was a joke. Well, because I didn't know that tiger. I thought
question.
tigers were lone animals. Next question, he said. Okay.
Oh, you got to
How
be fucking kidding
often
me.
does Haley's Comet, which
that
I
how you spell
don't
Haley's
think is how it's
Comet?
pronounced, yeah, it's spelled, comet, appear in the sky?
Well, if you're
Every-
microdosing every time.
every 103 to 105 years, every 75 to 76 years,
God damn.
every 72
I don't
years, every
know.
53
I know
years.
this one because
Because you
Oh,
would.
I got it right.
because
But
it makes me
you misspelled
mad.
Haley's
Yay.
Comet, right?
Yeah, this makes me mad. This-
75 to 76 or 72?
That's how you know that's the right answer, Bob. When's the last time you took a test at a school?
Yeah,
The one that's kind of close to the other one.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was in the 70s, so I was like, I had to guess between 72 and 75.
I think you didn't say
76.
Hail Bob. That one's like what 6,000 years or something crazy.
I don't
like that.
want to talk about Haley's Comet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's upsetting. I find it upsetting.
What
Dude,
about
man,
Neowise?
it
Have
was
you guys
the
seen
last-
it?
last
It was
question.
The worst.
Like basically,
No, there's
you
more.
get one
There's-
chance in
we
your
put
life.
eight
Okay, we'll
questions.
keep not the last question.
Oh,
Not the
What
last
was-
question. What was the name of Soviet spacecraft in which Yuri Gagarin,
Gagarin.
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 became
What's
the
the
first
answer,
man
Bob?
to
Tell me the
orbit the
answer.
Earth?
I'm guessing. I'm not.
It is.
Vostok 1, Soyuz, Zond, or LK1?
I think it's
I
this
guessed
one, but
correctly.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think it's this one.
It made it's definitely not Soyuz.
Yeah.
The other,
Yeah,
the other two I
the-
never heard of.
Yeah,
saw
this was
Soyuz.
familiar, but I
all-
wasn't sure if this was the dog that they sent up or
Yeah.
Yuri.
They're all
Was
legit.
was this where I went to the rocket launch? Did they do this out of Kazakhstan?
No, this was from Russia.
Probably not.
No, but their
but-
launch site is in Kazakhstan. It's next to Russia.
Nah. I
This
could
is
be
where
wrong.
Soyuz launches from.
You
It
said
wasn't
part of the
Baikonur?
Soviet Union.
All right, another question.
I think it was Baikonur. I think it was. Okay.
Next question incoming in. Wait for it.
Holy crap!
All of these types of lava, except all of
these
these
are
are
types.
types of lava. Excuse me, except Pahoihoi, Pohaku, Aa, or Pillow.
Ah,
Got it!
Did I get it?
Woohoo!
Wait, did I?
Did you
I
miss it?
lost it. I missed it.
I picked pillow because it just seemed like.
Me
too, 'cause it
that
did
was
sound
the-
Hawaiian.
That is
was
a
the
type
only
of lava.
one that sounded familiar to me, and is just too weird to be false. So I picked
like
between the
Pohoho.
first two. Yeah, Pohoho.
Vostok
Hoi.
1 was launched
Hoi,
from
hoi.
Baikonur Cosmodrome. That's where I visited.
Nice,
you are,
Kara.
You are
You're
awesome,
right.
Kara. Good
Tell
job.
Yuri next time
Next
you see him. I
question.
said, hey.
Next question is 10 seconds. You have
Shit.
Okay.
riff.
Uh,
All right.
9 hours
I
long.
don't know.
2, 1. Yes, which planet's day is 9 hours long? Mercury,
How many more of these are there?
That's it. This is the
I
last
think it's the last one.
Mercury. Be
Look
excited.
at me
Trevor.
score.
Rated on this.
Yes, I
Venus,
am.
Jupiter, Saturn. You
Damn
can
it.
blame Evan. He was the one that picked this
Jay,
one.
I think that's wrong,
You
dude. Are you,
Look it
are you
up.
sure?
Look it up.
Look it up.
Evan
I've
picked it, and he seems pretty sure of himself.
I've
Bob.
lived
I looked
for-
it up like 5 minutes before.
All right, because my memory was telling me 10 hours, but I picked it anyway and still got it right. But I thought it was 10 hours. But all right,
Just to let you know.
Saturn's 10, Bob.
Saturn's 10 and Jupiter's 9.
Yeah, actually, let's see.
Evan, you see how it goes when you write a question for the game?
Oh,
Yeah,
see how-
exactly, right, because you
Bob-
get all these different kinds of
Instant
things.
Bob's
I
right.
went to, I'll look up. what
Jupiter's
the-
9 hours. Jupiter's 9 hours and 55 minutes.
You know, Evan, people don't say
Okay,
after
yes.
the quiz, people don't say, hey, Jay, or hey, Evan, or hey, person that,
It was from Wikipedia.
yeah,
So-
they don't thank the
It's
people
9
that create
plus.
the quiz questions.
Right.
They argue with us.
I
But
love
if it makes you feel better, Bob, Saturn is actually 10 hours 41. So it's still
the ratio
Yeah,
works.
I'm happy I
Yeah.
got it right, and it's close, so close to 10. It's essentially 10.
I got it very wrong.
All right, there we go.
All right.
Here are the
so,
results, if everybody can see
All
it.
right, let's see
potentially.
some results.
So we had 476
Get wrong.
people that
Wait a
registered.
second. What? I didn't get any wrong. It's telling me I got one wrong.
I
I only got
programmed it that
half
way,
of
Bob.
them right.
I made it impossible, Bob, for you to ever get 100%.
Yeah, it's called a
So
handicap.
most people picked
Really
green
sucks.
tea, which was the wrong answer.
Yeah,
Oh no, green
I
tea has
didn't.
more caffeine.
I guessed coffee.
Most people
But by
picked
volume, not by the liquid volume. I mean, by the volume of the actual product.
Gotcha.
most people picked Jay's meatballs, which was the best of the answers.
Look at all those crepuscular
Yes, most people
animals.
picked. Most people got the crepuscular question
They
correct.
listen.
Nice.
60%.
yeah. I'm a honey badger there. I
Most
got that
people
wrong.
picked the honey badger for the ambush, the group of animals.
Hey, but
called
you
the
know
ambush.
what? 73 other people chose chinchillas with me.
Nice.
I love it. I love that I got you on that. I'm very proud of our audience for most
Yeah.
people guessing the Halley's Comet interval.
Uh-huh.
The Soviet. I'm also very proud that most people got the name of the Soviet spacecraft, Vostok 1.
and
Wait, we got a smart group of
Popoku
people here,
too,
man.
yeah.
You kidding?
Or
We
they're
got the
just
smartest audience out there.
very
Right.
fast
Really
on Google.
So this year,
I learned
this
from
week,
you.
Greece, one
Oh,
person in
Greece.
Greece got the highest score.
Nice.
I thought I read somebody out there said they got all the questions correct, and we're not seeing that represented.
Yeah, I don't know
which
why we're not getting that result.
All right, but we just got to follow what the results say. We'll tell Frank if we disagree. So the top scores were Greece, Czech Republic, Costa Rica, Slovakia, and Argentina. And who came in last? France came in last this time.
But only one person. Ooh, this is fun to see how many people played from different
yeah,
countries.
I'm more curious actually about that. I'm looking.
US,
for all our
UK,
friends out there.
Canada,
They're- New
Then
Zealand's
Australia.
representing.
Germany. A lot of Germany tonight. 19 people from Germany. 9
So-
people from Sweden. This is awesome.
I
South
had a
Africa.
very strange dream that made me, after thinking about the dream, it made me want to tell everyone during the live stream something. And here it is, without going into the details. Let's try something. Every
so scared.
every other day,
Mm-hmm.
do something nice for somebody.
Oh, how about every day?
How about
No,
yeah?
Every other day?
I'm saying every other day because
Nice.
it shouldn't be a forced thing. Like you kind of have to wait for the opportunity to present itself. If you have to send an email to someone and tell them that you care about them, if you have to offer your help to someone that you live with or start a project that they wanted, whatever it is, just think about saying, I'm going to do 3 to 4 acts of kindness a week that you're already not doing. So if you do two a day, add in more.
That you're already not doing. I like that.
Yeah, I think
So one additional. Yeah, or whatever.
And the
X
reason why I
additional.
say it, it's not like anything, is going to happen. I just think what we need during this pandemic is to give each other a little love and attention and affection to make it a bit better for all of us. And this is one way to do that. We can do it collectively. We can make the world happier by being nice to other people. I know it sounds, silly sentiment and all that. Just do it because you'll feel good too.
Yeah. And you dreamed about that?
I had a dream. It was really weird. You know how you come out of the dream and you're like, what the hell was that story that just happened in my head? But it was, I remember it was kind of like, remember when Pee Wee lost his bike and he
Still
saw
upsetting.
everybody with a bike, he turns around, everybody's got a bike in his imagination. I had this weird dream that the pandemic emotionally crushed everybody on earth.
Hmm.
And then I was thinking about it, because it is having a negative effect on so many people. And I was like, what can I do? And then it just occurred to me, we just need to be nice to each other. We need to do stuff for each other. Send an email, call up a friend.
Or even just a text. Like text somebody to say, I'm thinking about you today. Just want to see how you're doing. We don't do that enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody said, did you listen to Geologic last episode? I listened to every episode. It's really one of my favorite. It's probably my favorite podcast. I just love George's show. Yeah, George and I are, I have been feeling this sentiment for a long time. George does this wonderful thing on his show where he says to the audience, how you doing? Are you okay? Then he said that he I guess it was like something to do with TED Talk, and he read a book, or I can't remember exactly, but somebody said there's 3 questions that people need to hear is, how are you? Are you safe? And do you need help?
Mm.
And they studied this and found that if you ask people those questions, it just makes people feel better.
I mean, that's kind of the first thing that it's not like a rule or anything, but in a very first therapy session, those are the things that I need to establish out the gate before I get into details, before I get into diagnostics or anything complicated. I need to know if the person is safe, and I need to know if how they are right now and what is going on. Like, do they need help, or what do they need help with? Yep. But I always establish safety at the very beginning. It's so important. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people really are the thing that negatively or positively affects us the most. Hopefully it's not things like the weather and catastrophic stuff, but we can make the world better just by being nice to each other. And it seems so simple, but it's like breathing. It is simple, but it's simple because it's easy. It's a beautiful thing to do. It's something that we should be doing. And if we all do it and teach it to other people, because when you do it, it goes around. It's like paying it forward. It does spread. It does make people
been
think.
There.
Yeah.
Right. Like you're walking your dog on the street, you're having a shitty day, and you're just like in such a bad mood. And then some random person like smiles at you.
Random act of kindness.
Like in a really nice way, like a genuine way. And it like puts you in a good mood. Like you're like, you all of a sudden, you just feel better.
Jay, somebody said, is Steve safe? How's he feeling? Does he need help?
Steve that's my favorite comment of the night, without a doubt.
Yeah, you win.
Steve, every doctor that works in a hospital has to do what they call the rounds. Like every 3 months, they have a week or 2 of doing rounds. And it could mean a lot of different things. Like in Steve's case, Steve has to do like a walk through the ER. It's like he has to do it all the time, and he's on call more than he usually is for his job. So this is the week. Could you imagine? Steve called me up and he goes, of over the 3-month period, it had to be wrapped around Nexus. It had to happen around Nexus.
That sucks.
And I was like, dude, don't worry about it. Like, we worked it out schedule wise. It's not like he's going to be gone, but he has to go to the hospital the August 1st, the morning of the conference. Yeah. He has to go to the hospital for a few hours.
And also, how late on Eastern time, which is where you guys are, does Nexus go? Because Steve cannot hang late at night.
No, all I know is the show better come out Saturday morning, or I'm going to give him hell. I don't care about hospitals or anything else. That's all I want.
We'll end no later than 8 p.m., 7:30, 8 p.m.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, Steve you'll be okay.
You guys remember when we'd be doing live shows on like a different time zone at 10 p.m. Not live shows, like private shows at like 10 p.m. and Steve's just like yawning through the whole show.
Oh, Kara, worse than that.
Asleep.
You never experienced this. We were every year we'd go to TAM. And the first like 3 or 4 years of TAM, we were doing 20 interviews.
Yeah.
At TAM. We were just in there all day interviewing all the guests, right? And me, Bob, and Evan, like clockwork. Steve would have his midday lull, and if it was late at night, Steve would straight up be falling asleep. So
I've heard him kind of do it when we've been recording before, like kind of like
yeah.
Yawning. But that said, this man wakes up at like 5 a.m, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's a crazy early
he does.
riser.
He wakes up
no matter what. He's up at like 6 at least.
And he pumps out a blog post in the morning before he goes to work. The guy really
he works
incredible
so
blog post. It's like the best blog.
But we typically had a round table, and it would be like, the interviewer is sitting kind of across from us, but we could see each other very easily. And like and this is horrifying. We're in the middle of an interview, and Steve like just flat out closes his eyes. He falls asleep. And then the rest of us would just be like, we jump in, we have to make sure
we're the co-pilots.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the way it goes.
Yeah. But usually Steve talks the most because he's got the most to say. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's a show. Yeah.
So it's hysterical. I mean, I mean, what are you going to do? We're at a conference. We're working like we're getting no sleep, so it gets worse.
Those
as
are
the
so,
conference goes
especially
on.
Tam, man, because you're working so hard all day, and then you're like, I'll just sit down at the poker table.
Yeah, it's a poker table.
Ugh. And then
Someone
you've got to
wrote, "Is
talk
that
the next
Steve's
morning.
audition photo for Young and the Restless?"
General
Let's.
Hospital.
Oh, Bob, you should
Yeah.
take another picture, and we'll all do what Steve's doing.
We can we?
Oh, kind of
Yes.
like.
Wait. Yeah,
Can we
try
We gotta
to
get our
your head
faces closer.
just like Steve, right?
All right.
Get your head. Bob. This means move forward and get your head closer.
Yeah, you
to
gotta
the
get the
mic.
right
I
head
gotta,
size.
I gotta
there, don't-
size my screen here. Don't you worry.
Wait.
All right. Wait. So how do I even do that?
You just get closer. Oh, there you go. Yeah. How do I even smile?
I'm recording it too, so I
Yeah.
can capture it later.
3, 2.
All right. We'll
Bob,
see
you
if
gotta get
Steve.
He's gonna hate us.
Yeah, Bob. You didn't quite get there.
I'll crop it.
I
Oh,
gotta
that's
get
fine.
closer, man.
Totally
Oh,
closer.
I can.
They all said I
Photoshop
was
it.
doing it backward, but I'm doing it based on my webcam. Sorry. Let me.
Oh yeah, I
let's,
did mine
let's
based
do it
on
again.
the webcam too.
Yeah, that way.
One
Should I
last
be-
time.
Bob, the other way.
Ian, tell us if
Is
we're
it
right.
Right profile? Or
No,
left?
Evan, turn.
Ian, you
Evan,
take
Other
a
way?
screenshot.
Oh,
You
everybody
take them both.
basically is turning the opposite side.
Opposite side.
Yeah,
This
that
way.
I mean, I can. Yeah. No.
Oh, then
Sorry,
I was doing it
Kara was
right.
right. Kara was
Oh.
right. That
Oh.
yeah, with the change.
Am I here?
Okay,
So am I
Evan is
here?
good.
Okay.
Jay, you're wrong. Flip it. Bob is good, but Bob,
Okay.
get closer.
Bob,
Like
you
you
gotta
gotta
get way
cut off
closer.
your head.
Much closer.
Yeah,
Get,
like
get your
lean
chin
in.
cut off.
Can you stand up and get closer?
Lean in.
This is
There
great
you go.
content, isn't everybody?
And then
love
do the
it?
weird smile. Everyone do the
Right.
weird smile.
Like,
It's a little, more front facing. Okay, that's
trying to
good and creepy.
smile.
Okay, good.
All right.
Bob's over it. Bob's over it.
all right.
I am way over it.
Um,
Hey, can we talk about my thing I talked about with you, Jay? That problem I had with that order.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to end in no longer than 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
Wait, you're going to talk about that online?
yeah,
No, Ian and I have a meeting,
Ugh.
a VR meeting right after this. But Bob has a consumer protection thing that he wants to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of related to Steve because Steve has a daughter, Autumn, who is one of my Halloween minions. I have been working on her for 18 years, and she is my #1 Halloween minion. She's very macabre, and I love her to death. So whenever I see something creepy online, I will always think of her and buy something for her. So I've got 3 things in my drawer right over there with that are for Autumn for in her birthday. Here's one. I took one out. The Evil Garden by Edward Gorey. So this is
Oh, I
perfect
love
for
Edward
Autumn.
Gorey.
So I saw a bat. I saw a bat on on Facebook, and it was awesome. Look at this bat.
Ooh, cute.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's beautiful. It's adorable. It's well made. It's like, I'm going to get that. It was reasonably priced, like $24, like $32 with tax. So I bought it, and this is what came back.
Oh boy.
This is
Wait,
not
is-
the same
That's
quality.
not the thing.
It's not the thing. It's
It's a different picture.
It's kind of like a piece of crap.
Oh, you got bait and
It's
switch.
like a beanie baby.
This is,
Bait and
this-
switch.
This is like a plushie. It's an okay plushie, but it's not this bat. This bat is like very high quality. So I sent them an email, and they're like, "Well, we haven't gotten any complaints, so I'll give you 10% refund." I'm like, "Dude,
What?
10%.
Excuse me?
My response to them was, if you saw my pictures that I just sent you, and if that's your reply, then I'm just, then there's nothing I could do except never shop at your place again, because the quality is really.
Where'd you
kinda
buy it?
ridiculous.
Amazon?
So it's Tamiau, I think, TAMIAU.com, and it just annoyed the crap out of me. So now, who am I going to give this to? I guess maybe I'll give it to Olivia, Jay. She won't.
You won't know that it's
Love it.
gimped. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Because
But that's so sad that was so expensive.
$32 for this is like
For a
this
Beanie
cost them
Baby.
$1
Yeah.
to make, and it's like
Not even.
If this was the quality of the picture, it would have been worth it for sure, because that's super high quality. But it's just annoying, and sure, people get ripped off all the time, but what are you gonna do? Just like
Evan, people are asking you about your wand. I think that's a drumstick.
It is a drumstick. It is a
Yeah.
drumstick.
what happened to Hermione's wand?
Oh, I got
Um,
Hermione's one. Here we go. My Trey Cool drumstick. Green Day. My wands are over here. Hermione's wand. Here we go. Hermione. Same as last.
Yay.
I'd use it as a pointer sometimes with a whiteboard. See?
Ah, smart.
Yeah. But today I was
Meh.
fiddling with a drumstick.
Love
All
it.
right. So we're getting near the end, kids.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's do
Yeah,
this.
it's late here. It's 11:30.
Yeah, so not that all of you haven't been bombarded with me saying this over and over, but Nexus. So please do join us. I'm telling you that this is going to be a great event. I know it intimately, and I know that we're pulling some really cool surprises, and the quality is going to be very, very good. We're super excited about it. Why aren't you going if you're not going? Did you know, Ian? Ian, did you know that you could watch
No.
Nexus after Nexus happens? Because
That's true.
It's recorded and online. So if you're not going to be there, if you're busy, if you're working, if you're sleeping when this is happening, you could still register and see it for a month afterwards. So that solves that problem. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I had a great you know what, guys? We did an entire live stream without Steve, and I
Oh,
realized
he's right there.
I realized how freaked would you be if Steve's mouth moved and that I've been here the whole time.
He'll jump on right now. Hey, guys.
Like in the old Conans, like
Yeah.
where it
Oh,
just
yes.
Dave, real quick, people are commenting. I should have said it. I asked for a refund. They said we'll give you 10%, and 10% is a joke. So
Yes.
I'm not going to ask for 10%.
I find that
$3.
most of the Facebook ads, like these other websites that sell products, when I look them up, they get horrible reviews. So
there's no reviews. There's no reviews on this product. And when I tried to add my review, it said your email is not confirmed. But they sent me the email. They sent me an email. They have my email, so they they won't let me even comment on it. So that's
Scammy.
even a little bit more pissed off.
Hey, Jay.
But,
Yeah.
Whatever.
Jay, here's a question no one asked, so I'll ask it. Will there be a live SGU stream like this next week because it's the first night
Oh,
of
you're
Nexus?
right, Evan. No, guys, there will be no stream next week.
Not in this way, but we might do like a behind the scenes stream.
Yeah,
Like as part of
so
Nexus.
something
Ooh, I like
else.
this. I like this
it'll
idea.
exist, but it'll be on all of these channels. But you
Ah,
have to
cool.
get notified. So like the page, follow, subscribe, all that
Yes.
stuff.
If
Subscribe,
we have time,
yes.
because
Patrons.
it's only a few hours before the actual game show, so we might need that time. But at the very least, we could even do just a behind the scenes 10-minute thing. We could, talk to you guys.
Flip
But it's
on
not.
the J-cam.
But we will pick up the full stream the week after. And guys, have a great night, Kara. Thank you for staying up late. And I love all of you. And have a great and do something nice, please.
Nice. Be nice. See, hearts is nice.
Y'all want to do the sign off all at once? Say it together.
Say what?
And this has been the Skeptic's Guide.
Oh, and this has been the live stream of the Skeptics.
No, you have
Guide.
to all
Skeptic's
do it at
Guide.
Oh, we have
once.
to do it together.
Oh, 3, 2, 1.
This has
This
been a
has
live
been the
stream.
live stream.
What's
Skeptic's
happening?
Guide to the
Bad.
Silicon.
Blah 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 blah.
Squirrel.
Good enough.
Night, guys.
Hands. Don't forget to wash your hands.
Yes, wash your hands. Okay,
Must
you're going
wash.
muted.
Must
Mute.
information, visit us at theskepticsguide.org. Send your questions to info@theskepticsguide.org. And if you would like to support the show and all the work that we do, go to patreon.com/skepticsguide and consider becoming a patron and becoming part of the SGU community. Our listeners and supporters are what make SGU possible.